Okay, welcome to Maine Certificates in Mechanical Engineering Concentrations. I'm going to be talking a little bit more about what we have to offer in terms of certificates and concentrations. Some of them are specific to mechanical engineering and some are available to all Maine students, so we'll get into all of that. We do have time for questions at the end. And if you're watching this as a recording later on, you can always contact me for more questions. I will put some information in at the end so that you can find me. I'm also here in JEC 2012, so you can stop by. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. All right, so today we're going to talk about what concentrations and certificates does the Maine department offer, who can earn a certificate, so like what majors, bachelor's, master's, that sort of thing. Why would a student want to pursue a certificate or concentration? So some of the benefits to earning those. How do students apply? When are the courses offered? So how do you check that? And what are the deadlines for getting the concentration? And where can students find out more? So what concentrations and certificates are available? So we offer concentrations. Again, the concentrations are just for the mechanical engineers. So we'll talk more about that. But we offer them in mechanics and structures. That's one. Another one is design and manufacturing. We have one for energy systems, dynamics and controls, and computational engineering. We also offer certificates, and this is for other majors as well, within Maine and also outside of Maine, as long as the student completes all the requirements. And those are for lean design for Six Sigma, innovation and product design and development, and lean manufacturing. So who can earn a concentration? So the concentrations are meant for mechanical engineers only. The reason being aeronautical students, they get to pick their track. So they pick their flight mechanics elective and their capstone. So either air vehicle design, rotorcraft design, or space vehicle design. So that is basically their concentration. So within their major, that's what they specialize in. And nuclear engineers, they take their nuclear restricted electives and they take a lot of, special nuclear courses. So they have a lot more nuclear courses in their degree that makes them, unique, and then they can talk about those. The mechanical concentrations don't usually work very well with the nuclear engineering curriculum, so that's why it's not really applicable to them. And students that have dual mechanical engineering degrees or any other dual degrees, you basically already have an area of focus because you're matching up your degree with another one. So the purpose of the concentration is really because mechanical engineering students, their degree and discipline are just the broadest ones that of all the engineering. So it helps mechanical engineering candidates when they're applying for jobs and talking about their experiences with grad school to really help narrow down their area of focus. So that's why we offer concentrations. That's where they came from. It was something that was developed in the Department of Maine, so mechanical, aeronautical, and nuclear engineering, to serve a purpose, and the purpose was to really give those students a focus. So we talked about concentrations, and certificates are a little bit different, but kind of similar. So the lean design for Six Sigma, innovation and product design and development, students, and again, this is not specific to just mechanical, but mechanicals as well. So anybody who's earning a bachelor's of science, a master's of science, a master's of engineering, or a PhD in any of the engineering fields, and that they've taken Inventor Studio 1, 2, and 3. those students are eligible to apply for the certificate. There's also the lean manufacturing certificate. Same thing, BS, MS, MG, or PhD in engineering. And they have to take very specific coursework. So analysis of manufacturing and processes, manufacturing processes and systems lab, 1, design and analysis of supply chains, and Inventor Studio 3. So as you can see, they're kind of in different disciplines. So we've got a main course, we've got an ENGR course, and we've got an industrial and management course, and another main course. And students have to have a B or higher in each of those courses. Students can use those courses for their technical electives, so or free electives. So it doesn't necessarily mean they have to do extra coursework, but it is a way to help narrow down those choices too. And students for that one also have to have some kind of an internship or co-op at a manufacturing company. And we'll show you some more information on where you can get even more detailed information on how to earn the certificates. So why should students and why should you consider a concentration or certificate? So we already talked about this a little bit. It helps you define your engineering identity. So again, as a mechanical engineering student, your discipline is very broad. So a lot of times, there are a lot of jobs that look for mechanical engineering students, and there are a lot of mechanical engineering students out there. So this really helps you set yourself apart and also show, what your unique skill set is. So, so that's what we mean by engineering identity. It also helps narrow down your course selection, like we talked about. So sometimes students that I meet with are very overwhelmed with the choices that they have for technical electives and free electives. And this can be a way that you can help yourself see how to fill those requirements and also serve another purpose to help, like all the things we already talked about. And we mentioned already, but this is, it's a great selling point when you can really talk about what area of mechanical engineering you basically specialize in. So a lot of times students want to know, how do I apply? And the main department's concentrations and certificates are run through the main department. So they are not something that students apply for through the registrar's office, and they don't have to fill out a form for it through the registrar's office, like the change of status form. I do like to point out that some of the majors at RPI have required concentrations. I think I'm pretty sure in Lally, some of the students have to pick a concentration, as well as with biomedical engineering, they have to pick a concentration. That is not the case with mechanical students. They do not have to do concentration. It's completely optional. So there's nothing on the change of status form. You'll see if you ever look at that form, there's places where students can select their concentration for other majors. That is not a place you would declare it for a mechanical engineering student, or, to put on that you're applying for the certificates. So when you apply to graduate, and you always want to remember when you get to that point where you're going to be graduating in your last semester, there's a deadline that you have to apply in SIS to graduate. So you actually have to go in, click on graduation, and then fill out the information to apply to graduate. You have to do it by the deadline. That puts you on a degree clearance list. And so then what we do in our department, in the main undergraduate student services office, is usually a few days after that deadline, we go in, we pull the list for our for the mechanical engineering students. And we also send it to other majors because, again, they may have been eligible for some of the certificates. And we send you an email that says, if you've completed any of the concentrations or certificates, please fill out this form. So that's how you're going to apply. You can always reach out to us in your last semester as well. Stop by, email, and we can always share that link for the Google form with you so that you can make sure to apply. But again, it's all run through the main undergraduate student services office. We want to make sure that and I think it says this on the Google form, and I'm going to share that in just a minute. It's going to ask you for the exact spelling of your name. And you're going to want to make sure that you double check that, because that is what we're going to use. So if you have a nickname that you go by regularly, like I'm Kate, but my real name is Kathleen. If I wanted to say Kathleen on there, then that's the name I'm going to put on there. And a lot of people want their official name on the certificate because, you know, it's a nice thing. You can hang it up. You can, you know, have it up in your home office, that sort of thing. But, you know, if I was to put down Kate, then that's what's going to show up on there. So this is not a list that's run through the registrar's office that does have your official information. So just always keep that in mind. All right, so I'm going to pull up the form so we can take a look at that. Sorry, here. Okay, here we go. Stop sharing, and I'm going to share again. All right, so this is what the Google form looks like. And it's going to ask for your email, your permanent mailing address, because again, we're going to send these out after graduation. Okay, so once we have an official graduation list to make sure everybody who applies for the certificates and concentrations actually did graduate, actually did pass all their courses. Some of the certificates, like we talked about, have a certain grade requirement, so we have to double check all of that. First name, as you want to appear it on the certificate, last name, student RIN number, and then you don't even need to really look up the requirements. I mean, ahead of time, obviously, you're going to want to know what's required before you apply, but they're all here. So this will help you fill it out. And this is all straight from the catalog, and I'll show you that in a minute as well. So which one did you complete? Now this is, show you as a viewer. So you're going to do whichever one you completed. Okay, and then you're going to list each of your individual classes because they all require at least 3 classes. So you're going to do that and then you're going to submit it. So it's pretty easy, pretty painless. Okay, so let me go back to the slideshow here. How do you know when the courses are offered? So one thing, if you haven't yet navigated, the catalog is your best friend. It's your contract with the college, so you want to make sure you know how to use it. The one rule of thumb is when you're looking for your major requirements, you always want to make sure you're in the year that you started at RPI. Because from day one, when you started, you were starting to work towards your major. When you're looking at course information, minor information, some sometimes with the pathways, those kinds of things, sometimes it's better to look at a more recent version of the catalog, as long as it doesn't have to do with whatever rules you need to follow, because that is dependent on the year you started. But if it comes down to mostly like classes that are available, then that's when you usually want to go to the most recent version of the catalog. And that you should be able to find information, and some of the class numbers may have changed. So that'll help you, because whatever is going to be offered during the semesters that you're registering, those should match whatever the newest catalog reflects. For example, we used to, so space vehicle design used to be a course that was offered as 4850 in Maine, and now it's 4250. So if you were from an older catalog and your template said you needed 4850 space vehicle design, you would no longer find that class. And instead of stressing about it, you could just search and find that the new number is the one that you actually want to be looking for. All right, so that's the catalog. I'm also going to open that up in a second so that I can show you where you can find all this information. It is in a very hidden place, unfortunately, but I've provided a few other places where it's going to be a little easier for you to find this information. So SIS class search will also tell you, as long as it's open for the next semester. You can look up classes there. You can use Quacks. That's a good one. I know Yax is still available too. Class hour schedules as well. If you are trying to plan for the next semester, but that schedule is not out yet, you can usually go, I would say, with maybe 85–90% accuracy to the semester, like a whole year ahead of time. So if you were planning for spring and our spring schedule wasn't out yet, it is right now, but if it wasn't, you could look at last spring and get a good sense of what kinds of classes are offered. So those are just a couple of different tools that you would have. All right. You can also speak with faculty. Faculty will usually have a pulse, especially faculty that have their specialization. So if you wanted to do like an energy systems concentration for mechanical, you could talk to any of the faculty that have that specialization, and they're going to have a good sense of who's teaching what, especially if it comes down to like specific electives. Those would be good people to talk to. The deadline to apply, we just ask that students complete the Google form by the last day of classes, so that you won't necessarily know your grades, especially if you're taking those courses currently, but we'll look them up later just to make sure that you did pass them or got the grade that you needed. So don't worry if you're not sure about that. You can still put the course down and we'll double check all of that. But you do want to do it by the end of the last day of classes. That's in your last semester. So like I said, I'll show you all of these, do a demo of these. So the catalog is, all of this information is in our catalog. Let me share that. I'm going to actually start from the RPI info page so you can see where it is. So if we scroll down to academic resources, click on course catalog. Your instinct may be to go to programs, right? Because you know what your major is, but we're actually going to find it in the departments pages. And scroll down. This is why I created a shortcut, because you'll see there's a lot of scrolling. All right, so this is the mechanical, aerospace, and nuclear engineering page in the catalog, the most recent catalog. While we're here, I'll just point out this is where you want to go to make sure. So if you're looking up classes or information on certificates, pathways, courses, that sort of thing, the newest one is usually the most helpful. Otherwise, you want to go to the year you started at RPI. All right, so I'm going to just go ahead because I know that about halfway down is where it lists the concentration. So yes, it's kind of hidden in here. So it talks about basic, like a summary on each of the different concentrations that we have. What you need to do, students wishing to obtain any of these concentrations must take 3 courses from the list below. Okay. 4,000 level courses may be used as technical electives or free electives as applicable. Can't take them on pass no credit, so you can't get a P grade for them to count. The only exception right now is the spring of 2020. If you happen to still be around and took a technical elective and earned a P that semester, that would count only because of that special policy we had for COVID that semester. And a course from the list of computational electives can be used as one of the 3 courses fulfilling the concentration elective, as long as it's not used to fill your computation requirement. So that's the one exception. So you can't, if one of your, if you're following a concentration or that has an option to do one of our computational electives, you would just need to take another computational elective. Okay, so that's the only thing. So all the lists are here. Scroll down. They talk about the certificates. Okay. So it's all in the catalog. Okay. Now, I'll go, since I have this window open, I'm just going to go ahead and open up Linktree. All right. So if you go to Linktree and on the screen, when I start sharing that again, when I start sharing the presentation again, there's a QR code. And that QR code brings you to our Linktree. So currently in our Linktree, we have right now this webinar that we're doing. So that'll go away. Well, actually, what I'll do is I will put the link for our YouTube is in there, and it will be in on our YouTube channel once I have the whole recording. Okay, but the main concentrations and certificates is on here. And that brings you to a Box folder. So you do have to sign in with Box to access it. And it doesn't open to the top. All that information you just saw from the catalog is basically just cut and paste, but you don't have to scroll through and find it in the catalog. It's all here. All right, so that's there for you as well. And let me stop sharing this. And so this QR code right here, this is something you can access our Linktree. It has all other kinds of helpful links. It's also outside the JEC 2012. The QR code, there's actually a couple of them outside of our office. One specifically says it's a link to my meeting link. So if you need to schedule a meeting with me, you can use that. It's pretty obvious because that's what the sign says, that that QR code is for my meeting links. And then there's another one that brings you to the forms and templates. So if you click on that one, it will bring you to the folder that also has the concentrations and certificate document. So, so even though it says it's just the forms and templates, that also has that in there as well. All right. So if you guys do have any questions, feel free to let me know. Let me do something really quickly. I'm just going to put my email address on the screen here so everybody can see it. Document. Okay, so that's just my contact information. If anybody has any questions, just let me know. Like I said, I am recording this, so I will put this on our YouTube and I'll put the link on the link tree so you have access to this and anything else that we want to share with our students. Thanks for watching if you stayed until the end. If you guys have any other feedback or any other workshops you want me to do, just let me know and have a great day.